last week, a final tally of absentee votes confirmed that Republican Nicole Malliotakis officially won her congressional race in one of New York's most conservative districts.
That's right. And Congresswoman-elect Malliotakis will become the only Republican in New York City's congressional delegation. And she joins us now to talk about all of that and more. Welcome to you, Congresswoman-elect. We appreciate you being here. Want to start off talking about the presidential election results. We have yet to hear President Trump formally concede to Joe Biden. Where do you stand on election results? Do you believe that Joe Biden is, in fact, the president-elect?
I believe we will know the president-elect when we have all our electoral college votes cast. I believe that there are irregularities that are being investigated. There are hearings taking place in various states. There are affidavits, there are witnesses that have come forward, and that needs to be thoroughly investigated. I find there's nothing wrong with that.
Do you believe, though, that this presidential election, the 2020 presidential election, had voting irregularities that we haven't seen before? Do you think that something specific happened during this election?
Well, I'm not privy to the evidence that the legal team has. What I can say is that things were done very differently this year because of the pandemic. And so many of the absentee ballot processes were changed. I could tell you here in New York, there were a couple of dead voters who did cast absentee ballots that we identified in my particular race. But I can't speak to what's happening in other states. That's for the members of the state legislature and the judicial system to be able to thoroughly investigate.
All right, so we certainly do need to make clear, certain to our viewers, that they know 279 electoral votes, and enough states now have actually certified their election results, giving President-elect Biden that victory. So other things are being looked at, yes, and also President Trump has lost, at least by our count, 38 different cases in court. So things are moving forward. I understand what you're saying, but at this point, 279 does give Joe Biden a victory. I do want to ask you about going to Congress, though. You want to form something called the Freedom Force. I think I have that right. The Freedom Force to counter what is known as the Squad, a group of Democratic women, including AOC. There are several new members of Congress, Republican women. You want to get together to kind of counter the Squad. There's a lot to celebrate with so many women going to Congress. Do you want to start by countering them or finding ways to work with the Squad?
Well, I think this is a twofold issue. I think, number one, many of the women that you saw many of the women who won in this year's election were motivated to run by the fact that the Socialist Squad was there and they were not representing the values of moderate and conservative women. Number two, I think that it is very important that we do push back because they have a very dangerous agenda. They want to dismantle our economy. They want to undermine our nation. They want to strip freedoms. And what they're proposing is very dangerous to the fundamental principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that this nation was founded on. But of course, we want to work across party lines with any Democrats who share our goals and values. Look, we are going through an incredible difficulty right now. We need to overcome this pandemic. This vaccine is going to be approved in the very near future. We need to work with the governors and our state legislatures to distribute it immediately to the front lines. And then we need to work to rebuild the economy. But when there's individuals who don't want to rebuild our economy, who actually don't support free market principles, we need to push back on that. This group of individuals that have come into this class, we share the values of freedom, of free market, of ensuring that we support our police. We want law and order. And that's what we're going to be advocating for. And certainly I'll work with anyone and everyone who shares those same goals.
Congresswoman-elect, speaking of the pandemic, you recently spoke via a phone call at an anti-lockdown protest. Obviously, especially the district that you represent has been especially hit hard by COVID-19. What do you think should be done, can be done, to not only reopen businesses that have been shut down by COVID-19, but to keep them open?
Look, we know so much more about this virus than we did 6 months ago. We know that lockdowns are not working. Dr. Fauci, other medical professionals said our children should be going back to school. We need to have a balanced approach here. With the vaccination coming out, we really need to move forward here. I don't believe that, the real issue is that these governors have a very arbitrary regulations. That is really what the issue is here. A restaurant on this side of the block can't open, but across the street it can. Houses of worship, regardless of their size of capacity, can only have 10 or 25 individuals, and that was shot down by the Supreme Court. And then you have these small business owners, restaurants in my community that are devastated. They have not taken home any money for their families in months. And you have their employees who are suffering, can't put food on the table. So we need to have a balanced approach. Some states are doing that and some aren't. Unfortunately, New York is not taking that balanced approach, and many people are suffering and are reaching their desperation point.
We certainly appreciate your time today. Congratulations again, Congresswoman-elect Nicole Malliotakis. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.